Good afternoon or good morning. This is the class tutorial on banking statements. Now, this is stuff we covered at the beginning of the year, but I think it's best to review it, especially with the exams coming up at the end of the year. So, you may be familiar. Part of this is taken from a presentation I did earlier in the year. Part of it's also new. The important thing about banking statements and the important thing to remember about anything to do with money is to keep good records, because you need to have proof that it's your money and you need to have proof of where it's supposed to be spent. The most classic problem is with credit cards. I didn't charge that to my credit card, and the bank goes, "Sorry, ma'am, our records show that you did." Unless you have some way to show that you didn't, you end up paying for somebody else's product. So, the basics. Nowadays, most banking is actually done online or with an ATM. Not very often are you going to be filling out deposit slips or all the rest of these things. However, you still need to have a paper record, even if it's just the one that gets printed off at the ATM machine or the record that you can print from your computer when you use online banking. And the records are normally still printed in the same kind of format as the monthly statements and bank books. Now, bank transaction records and stuff we're going to look at again when I get back from Fort Liard. It is very important to keep track of your money because even banks make mistakes. Now, some of you might remember I told you a couple of stories about problems that I've had with my bank back at the beginning of the year. I'm not going to retell them right now in this tutorial, but again, when we go over bank statements, when I come back, we'll look at those again. So, first of all, the paperwork involved in banking. Now, you have a whole bunch of different things that you're going to use, and here's the basics. The deposit slip. Well, quite obviously, that's for when you put money in the bank. The withdrawal slip. Same deal, you're taking money out of the bank. A check. Well, a check is a different way to pay without using money. A check is essentially a note that promises that you have enough money in your bank account and promises that person that the bank will give them that money when they need it. A transaction record, well, that's a record of all your transactions. It's your copy of what's been going on with your account, so you have to maintain that record. The bank statement is the bank's copy of what's going on with your account. And again, transaction records and bank statements will be going over again after I return. So first off, the check. Now on the check, there's a whole bunch of different things that you need to know and remember. First off, up in the corner is the check number. This is what you write down to record in your book which check you've used. Up here, it's going to be your name and address. Your name and address. I'm just going to put down Addy for short. Now, this is important because these should match the information on your check. It's one of the things that helps prevent fraud. Fraud is when somebody writes a check on somebody else's bank account, forges their signature, etc. So, when you're filling out your check, first thing you need to do is you need to put in your date. So, we'll say it's March 24th, 09. Second thing you need to put in is pay to the order of. This is who you're giving the money to. So, say for example, I'm paying BC Hydro, my power bill. So I put BC Hydro, and again I want to cross out the remaining space so that nothing else can be placed in there. Here I'm going to place the dollar amount of my power bill, so let's say my power bill is $89.95. Next line, we're going to write that amount as in words, so that would be $89, and again I'm going to put that big long line here. And then here, see, this is a fraction, right? Out of 100. So I'm paying 95 cents out of 100. So 89.95. Memo, what am I paying it for? Well, I'm just going to note what it is. It's my power bill for March 09. And over here is where I'm going to put my signature, which is very hard to do with a computer mouse. So that's a filled out check. Things to make sure of is there's no place where somebody could say in front of your 89 put 189 and then just quietly put a 1 here in front, and then you end up paying more than you're supposed to. Okay, withdrawal slip. This is what you use if you're going up to the teller in your bank to take money out. And this looks very similar to a check. The date, obviously, is going to be the date that you're filling this out for. Again, March 29th, 09. Home branch, so that would be where your home branch is located. So let's just say, for example, we still had a bank here in Bella Bella. My account number, now you'd need this information. It would either be located at the bottom of one of your checks or in your bank book, or your bank teller would have this. So say 123-456-78 for the sake of simplicity. So your signature, right, signed in the presence of a bank employee, and how much money you are taking out. So here I would put in, let's say I'm taking out $100. And then you have my signature. Okay. Now, received can vary from bank to bank. Normally, what the received is also very much like your check. It's going to be the amount written as words of what you've received. So here I would have 100 and nothing over 100, so no cents. Now, I have come across the occasional bank form where they do it a little bit differently. And what they'll actually have in there is how they gave it to you. So they will have in the received field sort of, okay, I gave you 5 times $20. Now that's fairly uncommon. Most often it's like your check. You're just going to fill in the amount in words.